Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ashlee. I'm a homeschooling mom to 3 kids. I have currently a 5th grader, 3rd grader, and pre-K-er. In today's video, I am sharing my curriculum picks for the next school year for the 2024-2025 homeschool year for my current 3rd grader who's going into 4th grade. So these are my official 4th grade curriculum picks. I can't believe I'm making this video. I don't know why, but I've had some back and forth, am I doing the right thing? Is this right? And I feel like filming these videos is making it concrete, and so I'm getting a little bit of cold feet. But I kind of made this decision on all the curriculum I was going to use 3-4 months ago. And so I was so confident. I was oh, I know what we're using next year, no worries. And so I bought it all. And it's been sitting here for months, and then as soon as it's time to film these videos, I was oh my god, did I make a huge mistake? Am I going to regret this? But we're rolling with it, and we're going to go with my curriculum choices, and I'm really excited to share them with you guys because I've been quiet, but also I've been pretty obvious too. So I would love to know down below in the comments, do you know what I was going to choose? Is this a surprise? What were you thinking? So let's get into my soon-to-be 4th grade curriculum. It should be absolutely no surprise what we're using for math, but if you're new, we are going to be using Saxon 5-4 for my 4th grader. We have been using Saxon math for the past 2 years for both my daughters, and we absolutely love it. We do use Nicole the Math Lady, so Nicole the Math Lady teaches on video every single Saxon math lesson, and then I also use her grading system, so my kids complete the Saxon problems and then enter the answers into this system, and it tells them if they're right or wrong. It gives me reporting and grading and all of that. And as much as Saxon is black and white, I guess it's not black and white, well, it's light blue, black and white. There is some color in there. There's nothing flashy or beautiful about Saxon, but my girls do so well with it. I love the format of obviously Nicole teaching the lessons and the grading aspect of it. I love the solutions manual for me, so the teacher's, not really a teacher's guide, but the answer key, because it tells me how they should be breaking down the problem, how should they be solving the problem, so I can help them, but I don't have to teach the lessons. And so it just made sense, obviously, to continue using Saxon. I don't really see us changing anytime soon. We have already used 5-4 with my oldest daughter, so I know this level. I know how important multiplication and division and fractions and decimals are in Saxon and in this level. So it's kind of cool repeating a curriculum because I just know it. It's not with my oldest, our first time going through this, I had a lot of learning to do, but I'm excited to recycle it through again, and that's what we're using for math. So Saxon 5-4 with Nicole the Math Lady. I do have a link with Nicole the Math Lady. I will link down below, and I believe she has samples or a trial of the Saxon. So Saxon, I always buy it used. These are used. I still have some of the stuff from my older daughter. It is still made, but the publishers change and stuff, and so I want to say Nicole the Math Lady has samples and trials or stuff like that, so I'll link that down below. But no surprise, should not shock anyone, what we're using for math. Things that will be independent leveled for my 4th grader, but these are going to be more of kind of our morning work, when we start our school days. What are we going to be working on? We're going to be using the Zahner Blosser handwriting level 4. She just completed level 3 this current year. So this is another cursive level. Right now we only do this about once a week. It's not a super big book at all. I really do like Zahner Blosser. I like how colorful it is. I like the realistic fonts they use. It's not when they're teaching cursive and it's very drawn out and elongated. That's not how cursive is. If you read any letter that anyone's written in cursive, it's very slanted, very close together, can be very difficult to read, and I feel like Zahner Blosser does a lot better job at making the cursive more realistic, and it's been working great for her learning cursive and just continuing it. So she'll be doing Zaner Blosser's handwriting. And then she will be continuing in the Word Roots beginner level. We've already been working on this because I started her a little bit younger, I think, than you should for Word Roots. She's obviously now ending 3rd grade. She's really good at her Word Roots now, but she's going to be continuing on in this beginner book, really reviewing it, probably repeating some of the activities she already did just to make sure she's a really solid understanding before moving into Word Roots level 1, which is a little bit more in depth. So she will be continuing on in Word Roots beginner. And then, if you didn't already guess or know, sitting beside me, which you can only see half, you can see what, these two? There's 2 more buckets next to me. I decided this year to transition from using the Moving Beyond the Page curriculum as like a, one-off unit study, reading unit study, to actually purchase their entire 8 to 10 curriculum for language arts, science, and social studies. So the only thing I chose not to use for Moving Beyond the Page was their math, which, nothing against it. I honestly haven't really looked at it. Because Saxon works so well, I'm not going to fix something that's not broke, right? If we were struggling in math, if we were looking to change our curriculum, 100% I probably would have purchased the math, but we already have something that works fantastic. And so we will be using Moving Beyond the Page for language arts, science, and social studies. And this is all just for my middle daughter in 4th grade. So we decided to use the 8 to 10 level, which is equivalent to 4th grade from Moving Beyond the Page. If you have no idea what Moving Beyond the Page is and you're like, what are you talking about? I have done tons of videos on Moving Beyond the Page. I have an entire playlist. I'll link it down below. So not going to get super into that. I'm going to do a very in-depth video on this whole program. I'm going to show you them all right now, but I'm going to go more in depth in another video. So if you have questions about Moving Beyond the Page and this 8 to 10 level, please leave those down below in the comments and I will do a separate video on that. But in this, we're just going to kind of breeze through it. I'll explain how it works and you'll see what my 4th grader is going to be learning this upcoming school year. Okay, so we do need a crash course in Moving Beyond the Page for those of you that do not know. If you use Moving Beyond the Page as a year-long curriculum, they break their curriculum units into 4 concepts, or I say quarters, because we do our school year in 4 quarters. So I organize them in these like book bins per quarter. So this is 1 concept, 1 quarter. This is the first quarter, everything that she'll be completing from Moving Beyond the Page. This is a Moving Beyond the Page unit. She will be completing 24 units for her school year. Okay, so 24 of these things is what she'll be completing. How it works, and there's like the chart on the back. She will always, this is a science unit, hold on. She will always be working on a language arts unit. So language arts stays consistent. So she's always working on a language arts unit. And then at the same time, she has a corresponding either science or social studies unit. Okay, so this is her language arts unit, The Little House in the Big Woods. She'll be reading that book along with this language arts unit, and then she'll also be completing a science unit. She'll complete both of these. They normally take about 3 weeks. She'll complete these. She'll move on to her next 2 units. So she's always working on 2 units. 1 language arts, always a language arts unit, and then the second alternates between science and social studies. Moving Beyond the Page is a literature-based curriculum, but what I like is it's normally only like 1 book at a time, unlike other literature-based companies where you're fluctuating between 5 books at a time. And it's that unit study style, which if you've been around, you know I really enjoy unit studies, especially when we're talking about things like science. I and my kids have a very hard time staying on one subject for a very long time. We are most successful, especially in science, when we go really into a topic for a few weeks and then we're done and then we get to move on. And so that is why we have really connected with Moving Beyond the Page. Same with their language arts. We read a book, We really work on concepts and theories in that book, and then we're done. And then we move to another one. So we have been using a lot of the language arts unit from Moving Beyond the Page as kind of just reading units here and there. We have been using them as a family together. So this is the first year both of my daughters will be separated. So these units, only my middle daughter will be working on. And that is kind of where I had like a little curriculum freak out, because it's just different. I've been always doing science together. We've done a lot of reading units together. So to separate that, I know we can do it, but it's like more of like, am I gonna miss it? You know, like I don't want them feeling like they're missing out what the other one's doing. But my oldest daughter, who's going into middle school, really wants her independence and separation from her younger sister. So this is what we're doing. That was the spiel, all right? So this is the only book I don't have, but it's Little House in the Big Woods. She's actually already read this book. We did a unit study on it like 2 years ago, so I know we have the book. I just can't find it anywhere. But Little House in the Big Woods, she reads the books along, and then in this unit, there are like discussion questions, vocabulary, various activities, and that's what I'll get more in depth in. Like, what is she going to be doing in some of these activities? That's what I'll be sharing more of. But again, it covers all different concepts in language arts. She's going to be doing her first science unit on dirt and plants with this book. She'll be reading The Sign of the Beaver next, and then working through her social studies unit on Native American. So she has 2 books she'll be reading with that. And then her next language arts unit is Native American Animal Stories. And then her final science unit is going to be ecosystems and ecology. And this one does not have a book. This unit is just standalone. So that is what she will complete in Q1. And as you saw, the units that she works on together or like right after another kind of build on each other. And so that's where those concepts come into play, where, you know, she's learning about social studies of Native Americans, but then we go into like the language arts, the stories from that community and things like that. So this is concept 1. Here's concept 2. So for science, she will be starting out with magnetism and electricity. She will be reading Ben and Me for her language arts. She will be doing a social studies unit on the power of the people and the election. Then her next language arts will be The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And then the BFG, and last science unit, The Forces of Nature. So that will be her second quarter. Already? Oh, concept 3, there's a lot of books in this one. So it's not always just one book, but like as you saw, a lot of those, if it's a chapter book, it's definitely one book. But in this one, there's a lot of picture books, and so there's like multiple picture books for one unit. All right, so the first one this is language arts, so stories from Africa and Asia, and then she has these 2 books. And then she's doing a social studies unit on Africa and Asia, and so she has a book on Japan, Africa, Asia, a story, Beatrice's Goat, and I think that's it. Then her next language arts would be Holes. And then another language arts is stories from Europe. And so the Snow Queen, Fiona's Luck, and the Sea King's Daughter. So these are all like super small books. And then we have Social Studies Europe. And then this is The Turn of the Century and The Kitchen Knife. Last quarter, fourth quarter, is for science. She'll be learning animal adaptations. She'll be reading Abel's Island. And then she has a social studies unit of early explorers. And then she will be reading for language arts Pedro's Journal. And then it also had this extra book. What is this? The Island of the Skog. Her last language arts unit will be Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nip, reading that book. And then her final science will be Work, Tools, and Simple Machines. And this one does not have a supplemental book. It's a standalone unit. So fourth quarter. And that is her core curriculum that we chose for the upcoming school year. So It seems like a lot, but if you've done Moving Beyond the Page, again, you complete one of those units in 3 weeks. So she'll be doing 2 units every 3 weeks, pretty much. So like, I know how they work. I know it will work. Again, my biggest hang up is like, she's going to be working on something in science. My other daughter is going to be working on something in science. And it's just like letting go of like that togetherness. But we will still have that. So like the word roots, the handwriting, like my other daughter has stuff like that too. There will be like, I always like have like kind of a book I'm reading to them. So like this year I'm reading them like a book on philosophy. And so like that is something we do together. We watch World Watch News together. Any other like unit studies, I still may sprinkle in, just depending. Like if there's holidays, things like that, that's when we'll do together stuff. But those are my main picks for 4th grade. Will there be other things? Probably. Will I make some changes? I don't know. I'm pretty set on like the stuff I showed you. I'm pretty confident in it, unless we just get into our school year and like it's just not working. But again, we've been using Moving Beyond the Page, we've been using Saxon, we've been using word roots, we've been using Zaner-Blosser handwriting. So like I just don't know, unless it's just like a scheduling thing and like time thing if it doesn't work out. But I'm excited. I made the jump. I get questions all the time. There, people are like, why aren't you just using Moving Beyond the Page? Well, here it is. We're doing it. It's happening. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video of my soon-to-be 4th graders curriculum picks. Don't forget, I also have a kindergarten video and a 6th grade video. So please make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out. Have a great day, guys. Bye.